What's up, you guys? This is Steven, and I want to do a quick comparison of the Hunger Games and Battle Royale. And of course, many of you guys already know about the Hunger Games. It's basically like a story about um, like the United States in the future and how each like instead of states, usually in the United States we have states obviously. Instead of states, we just have like 12 different districts instead. And in order to sort of keep the districts in line, they do the Hunger Games. There's two kids from each district between the ages of 12 and 18 participate in the Hunger Games to represent their district, and only one person can win. And Battle Royale, on the other hand, is about the Japanese government randomly selecting a class, like a class in like middle school or high school. I believe it's middle school though, to battle each other to the death until one person is victorious. And overall, I enjoy Battle Royale more than Hunger Games. However, Hunger Games is good too. I am, I just feel like the Hunger Games may have been like a bit one-sided, but the story is one-sided. If you read the story, which I have, I read all three Hunger Game books, so I'm officially a literary scholar, um, just for that alone. But the story isn't first person; it's told through Katniss' point of view, who is the protagonist. While Battle Royale is more so, it gives you like different viewpoints from the different characters, so you kind of are able to sort of become a bit more attached to the characters or see where the characters are coming from more so. But in Hunger Games, in the movie as well as the book, you really just see Katniss' point of view. It's pretty much just about her. And I think, the Hunger Games has, I believe, 24 participants, while Battle Royale has 42 participants. And you know more about that, more about the 42 people, at least some of them, versus more of the 24 people, which is a bit odd. But that's how the author chose to go, I guess. But, I don't want to come off as I'm totally knocking the Hunger Games because, you know, I, I didn't, when I first watched it, Hunger Games, I did enjoy it. And when I read it, I enjoyed it as well. So, I don't want people to think I'm just totally knocking the Hunger Games. Um, but I will say that I think that Battle Royale might be a bit more relatable to people because, everyone's been to school and, like randomly selecting a class of students to have them battle to the death, like, it really is like weird because these are people you went to school with, but like these people just kind of like went crazy and turned on each other, a lot of them. Although I do find it a bit odd that there's three Hunger Games books, but there's going to be four movies. I'm like, isn't that a bit much? The third book dragged on forever until they got to the point of it. I'm like, this could have been done in like half the page count if you just cut to the point. But I don't get that. I guess they're just being greedy and trying to get more money because people are going to see the fourth movie because they're like, hey, what's that about? But I think Battle Royale being Japanese, it's pretty efficient. It gets to the point, but it also again it's efficient and it's straight to the point. But you know, it also gets the job done in a much better fashion than I guess Hunger Games does. Um, I will say that the Hunger Games weapons are a bit more like it's fair because I think there's no guns involved. while Battle Royale, there are guns involved. Um, you know, the closest thing you have to a projectile in the Hunger Games is like the bow and arrow, and that's a bow and arrow. Like in Battle Royale, they had like crossbows that did like crazy, crazy damage to people. But overall, I like both movies. They both have their pros and cons. Overall, I think Battle Royale is the better movie. And also, Battle Royale was based on, I believe, manga, like, comics that were previously written. I believe it's manga or a novel, or like a novel. One of the two. But I believe it's manga, or both. Anywho, and the Hunger Games obviously are based on a series of books. But again, both movies are good movies to watch. And there's also a sequel to Battle Royale, and it's called pretty much Battle Royale 2. I haven't watched it, but I heard that it wasn't good. And I can kind of imagine. I'm like, where do we really go from here? And to an extent, I was like that with Hunger Games. Like, where do we go from here? But Hunger Games did kind of take it a bit further, although I'm like, okay, I get it, but I'm like, isn't this a bit of a stretch? Like a whole revolution, you know what I'm saying? Like if you read, you know what I'm saying. But that's all I got to say, pretty much. So thanks a lot for watching, and feel free to leave comments in the section in regards to anything I've said, as well as Hunger Games, Battle Royale. Again, thanks a lot.